by film.
5,
Stand by music.
4,
Stand by announce.
3, 2, 1.
And fade up.
All aboard!
And a name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
On page 394.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountain?
That is so fetch.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dive.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
Where's my super suit?
Hey, Fat Lard, come get some dinner.
Well,
I am not drinking any f***ing Merlot.
And I'm gonna try to forget the fact that you're a girl. But dogs can look up.
Oh, durka.
you tell me what I saw this woman? This is the Polar Express.
All right, well, welcome everyone to a brand new episode of 20 Years, 4 Beers. We are a podcast dedicated to rewatching movies from at least 2 decades ago while simultaneously enjoying a minimum of 4 modern beers. My name is Steve, and my foot is asleep, and this is my big brother,
Tim.
And we are coming to you from Minneapolis, or just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. We have just watched and recorded our episode on Shaun of the Dead, and as usual, we sit down and discuss another film over another beer. So we'll refer to these as our happy hour episodes.
Hey, you guys. Happy hour is from 4 to 6.
On this happy hour, we will be talking another comedy in 2004's Team America World Police. The movie centers on a popular Broadway actor who is recruited into an elite counterterrorism unit called Team America, a testosterone-fueled Uber USA-focused militia. The group must battle a worldwide terror organization led, of course, by Kim Jong-il, powerful Hollywood actors, their own dark pasts, and falling in love, all told through marionettes, obviously.
Obviously.
The film is directed by Trey Parker, written by Parker and Matt Stone. It stars the voices of Parker and Stone, Kristen Miller, Masasa Moyo, and Darren Norris.
Well,
I really probably could have just said Parker and Stone.
Basically.
Durka Allah, Muhammad Jihad. Bagala, Muhammad Jihad. Bagala, Muhammad Jihad, Allah, Durka, Muhammad Jihad, Muhammad Jihad.
Oh, shit. Come on, Gary. Act. You have the power.
Bak, Durka Allah. Durka, Muhammad Jihad. Haka Sherpa, Bagala. Oh, Durka.
All right, Gary.
Told you he was Top Gun.
I've never seen acting that good.
He's amazing.
Come on, not my beer.
With our reactions and verdicts to the movie out of the way, we move on to the reactions to our beers that we drank while rewatching our subject movie.
And if you want to have sex with a disgusting bad brewer with a terrible attitude,
This is where we take a look back at our beers and give our expert ratings for our drinking buddies.
ugh, whatever. Hey, here's the truth.
This is Drinking Buddies.
Let's get weird.
You want to go first?
Sure. I had 2 options that I know you are going to love.
Oh my god, I bet.
As we are recording, but it's later into the fall season. Somewhat a clean out the fridge type of experience.
One of these a pumpkin beer.
Both are.
Douche
I
nozzle.
figured, you know what?
God.
You're going to love it. I had Left Hand Brewing out of somewhere west. Pumpkin spiced latte nitro. And so it's one of those that you pour it out. It's nitro. It was a 3.75. I know you hate pumpkin, but for the coffee aspect to it, like a pumpkin spice latte, the nitro, it worked. I enjoyed it. And then our friends, well, I shouldn't say friends, the people that kind of mess things up. Dangerous Man Brewing out of formerly Minneapolis, but somewhere west.
For now.
Less west out of the cities. Their Imperial Pumpkin Ale. And I must say I'm usually a big fan of Imperial pumpkin ales. I kind of
Yeah.
like a little bit boozier, and it's more like
Is that the pumpkin or whatever?
no,
Isn't that
it's
or is
it's
that-
similar to that,
Okay, alright.
but it's kind of like that vibe. It's a 4 for me. It was a nice 9%. It's got a little heft to it, and more than what I expect from like a typical pumpkin ale. So
Here's my
really was okay with them.
again. I don't want to go on a pumpkin rant, but I just want to say, if you think of cinnamon and nutmeg and like the general spices in these,
Yes.
that works with a stout or whatever.
Yep.
Like that makes sense.
Like a Christmas stout.
But then when you say it's a pumpkin, you're like, go fuck yourself.
It's
That's like,
not-
it's not pumpkin.
Yeah, it's inherently tasteless.
Pumpkin is disgusting. Like, I get it. It's pumpkin pie. I get it.
Sure.
But okay, all right.
So yeah, what'd you have?
So I had out of Chanhassen Brewing Company, their Mother Mountain West Coast IPA, and I quote the beer tender when I bought it. It's like Surly Furious, but I like this better.
Oh, wow.
Spoiler alert: it was not better.
Hey, they have some bad taste buds.
You know, it was fine. It was like a 3.75 out of 5, which is fine.
All right.
But I mean, like, Furious, for all of its faults, maybe not faults is the wrong term, just sort of like we've gotten used to it over
The
the
industry
years.
caught up with it. Yeah.
At least has like a bite and a flavor to it.
Yeah,
and you're
it's-
kind of like, oh, I know I'm having a Furious here.
Yep.
This was just sort of a like just fine West Coast IPA.
Sure.
And I was like, I understood a beer tender's supposed to like talk up their game.
Yeah.
But bro, be honest.
But like, if you like that, you'll like this.
Yeah.
That's sufficient.
Yeah, I like this better. And I was
Sure.
like, yeah, okay. It also was like,
Because it's less furious?
I know, like this is like a darker color. It was a lighter than the, you know, it was
Sure.
like, you're not, okay. Anyway, and then out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, out of Severance Brewing Company, their Flannel Antlers, their Maple Pecan Brown Ale. Really delicious brown. It's almost overly sweet, like just close
Sure.
to being too sweet.
Yeah.
And so, like, you kind of feel like you can't finish a whole 16 ouncer on your own, but then you get past that sort of feeling of being too sweet. Really good flavor, though. I had 4 out of 5. I think had it been a little stronger or a little more of a bite on the brown ale, it might have been a little bit higher, but
Sure.
really good. So, yeah, take one home.
I will. So then tonight we are having a sample of one because really compelled
I don't know where this came from. Yeah.
with Team America. I was at the liquor store this week, and I was like, how about we just lean into the movies, rah rah America, and enjoy the number one selling beer in America.
Sure. And
And it was-
good contradiction.
It was not what I expected.
Oh, really?
I knew it was going to be like a light lager type thing, but I was confident it was like a Miller Lite or Bud Light type of
Well,
thing.
It was Bud Light before the transphobic stuff
Sure.
from last year, and there was the boycotts.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know that had much impact, but
it did. It dropped it from Bud Light
from 1 to 2.
from 1 to 2 because they were boycotting it, and these idiot hick dumbasses.
Gosh, that
moved
cancel
to-
culture.
Yes, but so they moved to what was now number 1?
Modelo Especial,
Yes.
brewed from our friends in Mexico.
Yeah. Do you know who owns Bud Light?
The same company.
The same damn company.
Yes.
So way to boycott, you
Exactly.
dumb
Really
bastards.
hit them where it hurts.
God,
But I
I
love
know.
the idea that the number one selling beer in America is a Mexican
A
beer.
Mexican beer.
Gosh, those immigrants. Ugh. Sorry, it's a week
But
after
this
the
beer
election.
came over the border legally, Tim.
That's right. Don't separate it from its family.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Modelo. Yeah, exactly. So the Modelo, is it
Negro. Yes,
That is obviously like 50th in this country because
Yes.
we only go so far.
exactly.
But you can split those two
So
up.
much
That's fine.
advancement allowed. Oh, God, we're terrible. Speaking of terrible.
At least if this were Modella, it'd be like 100th.
Or if we were true Democrats, Model X.
Then yeah,
No one says that shit.
Modella X Plus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of terrible, this is not a good beer.
No,
Um,
no. I mean,
I've never had it, and
I'd
it's
rather
like-
have a Bud Light than this. I don't understand.
Absolutely, I would.
Yeah.
I would have any other light beer than this, like
Yeah.
PBR, Coors Light, Miller Lite, any like Bud Light.
I'd rather have this than a Coors Light.
Oh, you're stupid.
Yeah.
This is awful.
Yeah,
Like I
it's
was
not
like,
good.
oh God. So we had tasters of it. So yay,
Yay.
America. But then we're going
Yes.
to pivot to our, I assume,
Yeah.
better beer.
Yeah. Well,
This is from the Late Harvest
Harvest out of
brewery out
Sioux
of-
Center, Iowa.
Are you serious?
This is out of Sioux
It just
Center,
says made in Iowa, but
I know.
Oh,
So this is the brewery in Sioux Center, Iowa.
I had no idea they have a brewery open.
Yep. I
Nice.
actually purposely I worked from there last weekend
That's
and
awesome.
did not tell you they have a brewery because I was like, then I'll bring a beer from Sioux Center.
It's called the Promotion, and
Well,
it's clearly a double IPA.
So the promotion
Almost
is like
9%.
a series they have.
Okay.
And this is the promotion. It has like a sub name to it. You know, it's like the promotion this, the promotion night. They have
Oh,
a
okay,
few.
it's like different series.
Yeah.
but yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
It's definitely like a craft. I would say it's when I say craft, not craft, like very micro.
It
Like
is,
like small
Yep.
brewery feeling and taste. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It hasn't been like perfected to the level of like mass distribution, like a Surly or something.
Yeah.
Like that. So nothing against it. It's just like this feels like your local watering hole.
Oh yeah. If I were to walk in
Option.
and have this double IPA, this was the second best beer I had there.
It doesn't like hit you like a 9 or 8.8%
No.
though. That's surprising. It's really a nice, clean double IPA.
It hits you in the wallet though, and here's where. So the girl, God bless her.
But that'll change in 2 months. Don't worry. All the
Yeah.
money is gonna be much better. Sorry.
Oh yeah, we'll all be making way more.
Yep. Sorry.
The
girl.
Okay, so I was like, hey, do you guys distribute? Do you? Because I was thinking about bringing stuff home for this, and there were 2 beers I wanted to get, and she's like, no, we don't distribute, but we do crowlers. I was like, oh, okay, and she started explaining a crowler to me, and I kind of interrupted, and I was like,
Don't woman explain to me.
I'm well versed in this. What a crowler is.
Yeah. Have you seen
I don't know.
my
Are
physique?
you looking
I'm
at me
aware.
currently?
Beer.
I'm pretty sure this body is 90% crowler at this point. And so I was like, and I wasn't mean about it. She was like, oh, and that's like, it's, we just, and they pour it, and she's like, we just pour our own and then they seal it up or whatever. I was like, okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
She's like, yeah, I'll probably get some to go. And I was there for a few hours working and, excuse me. And she's like, I was like, I'll do crowlers and can I do one of this double, the promotion, and then they have a barrel aged stout that was really well done. It wasn't quite as barrel-y or whatever as you want, but I mean it was really solid. And I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. It's in my Untapped. And she's like, I was like, well, how much are the crowlers? And she said, well, it's $9 for the double IPA, and it was $16 for the
Barrel
stout.
aged.
And I was like, oh, I'll probably, what? I'll do 2 of the double. So it was like $18.
Yeah.
Except when you think crowler, you think a 32
ounce beer.
No, their crowlers are that.
A tall boy?
A tall boy. So it was $8 or almost, it was 8 for that.
Can?
A can.
Oh.
So I was
I
like,
mean,
I was a little pissed. I wasn't
sure.
like mean, and you know what I mean. But like when I paid for it, because she's at my table, like they did table service. They also had really good food there. And I was kind of like, oh, cool. And then I walked up to the bar, and she's like pouring them, and I was like this, and I was like, So I mean, this is bad enough. This is a good enough beer. But then I was thinking if I had gotten a stout and it was $16.
Oh my gosh, for a can.
For a tall boy,
yeah,
I'd have been like,
I'm
we
sorry.
got a problem
I guess
here.
we should have discussed.
Yes, we should have
What
discussed
does a crowler mean to
actually
you?
is. And apparently, a crowler at Late Harvest
is
Brewing
just a 16 ounce.
Is a 16 ounce can.
Tall boy. Huh. Well, that's. I love these up and coming ones figuring out.
But it is good. Like I would say,
it's enjoyable.
It's a solid beer. All the beers I had there were good. There was not a single bad. I had a flight and then another couple. So
Nice.
everything was really good there.
Awesome.
If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
This is a social network
You don't have to be an intellectual property expert to understand the difference between right and wrong.
where we take a look back at the critical and fan reception from 2 decades ago.
Mark!
As usual, Tim takes point on this, So take it away, Tim.
You better lawyer up, asshole, because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything. $1 billion.
The IMDb rating is 7.2 out of 10. Claudia Puig, not sure, of
Puig,
USA
probably, I guess,
Puig,
yeah.
of USA Today. So Team America World Police is not as funny as the South Park movie, and some of its juvenile humor falls flat. Yet, when Team America works, it falls squarely into the category of guilty pleasure. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone magazine said, sophomoric, vulgar, obscene, and completely brilliant. And Roger Ebert had a bit of a harsh take on it, 1 out of 4. And it's going to be odd with like the resonance of his critique with where we're at in the world. I wasn't offended by the movie's content so much as by its nihilism. At a time when the world is in crisis and the country faces an important election, again, late 2004, the response of filmmakers Parker, Stone, and company is to sneer at both sides. Indeed, at anyone who takes the current situation seriously. They may be right that some of us are puppets, but they're wrong that all of us are fools, and dead wrong that it doesn't matter. Roger was a little heated. Whew.
Taking it serious.
Funny how time is a wheel. Academy Awards that year, not surprising. No nominations. Not even a courtesy song.
Well,
right for them.
Yeah. Even then, I don't know what song you could have chosen. We're not looking at
America. Fuck yeah.
I know. I'm like,
I mean,
I don't think there's a song you really could have chosen in this. I
No,
mean,
there's definitely not.
the Pearl Harbor song, maybe.
Maybe.
But you couldn't pick I'm So Ronry.
We got to talk to that. Okay. I love it.
We'll talk to
All right.
that.
So, yeah, no nominations that year.
All right. Thank you. We begin our discussion with our reaction segment that we call Spotlight.
This is Boston, and the church does not want them to be found. So, they are not there.
This is where we highlight and discuss our top takeaways of any kind from rewatching our subject film.
We've got two stories here. We've got a story about degenerate clergy, and we've got a story about a bunch of lawyers turning child abuse into a cottage industry.
If there were 90 of these bastards, people would know.
Maybe they do.
This is Spotlight.
They knew, and they let it happen.
All right. Well,
where to begin?
Here are my notes
Oh my
that I
gosh.
forgot to type out.
I love.
So,
like, you've got this like bound journal.
Yeah. I got my work one.
It's so great.
Yeah. What do you got to start us out,
So
Tim?
I'm going to talk through some of the things I really enjoy
Yeah.
about this.
Okay.
And it's hard to actually kind of really, for me, like overly criticize it because I'm like, I know what I'm getting into with this. That being said, some details. But speaking of that, I think it's truly incredible the attention to detail they have in this movie. You know, I remember when it was coming out and we were like, I'm sorry, the South Park guys decided let's have an entire movie with marionettes and puppets. We're like, what? And it was so insanely stupid, like in terms of really, that's what you're going to try and, okay, as your follow-up. But watching it again and seeing the sets and like just the level of detail that they put it in, the care clearly, like they weren't like half-assing this.
Yeah.
To their credit. Like they're like, we're going to full lean into what this could be like, story aside, but just the aesthetics and the attention to detail is truly impressive in this. And so I will stand by that, like, quibbles aside or other people's like not liking things.
Is it large quibble a quabble?
A quibble? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, but just again, they, their commitment to it is so incredible. Yeah. And I'll give them so much credit for that. Where like they were not messing around. Even the weird faces of the marionettes, not just being like these stupid things.
Yeah.
Especially after watching Bane John Malkovich from 99 this year. Like just the weird, I had to like clarify when it came out, what were they doing? I enjoy it. I don't know that I like it per se, but there's moments and pieces about it. But yeah, the work they put into it pays off in the long run.
I mean, you have to. This is a movie that I think really gets well, one, it's been forgotten almost exclusively.
Totally.
Probably to the benefit.
True.
At least in terms of modern cancel culture and things like that.
Oh yeah, they've always been equal opportunity offenders,
right? And I think that's where. So this movie to me is always one that says like is almost a perfect encapsulation of Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Like it is, and I say to people often when they talk about sense of humor and stuff, like I am a Family Guy, South Park style believer of humor. If you can't make fun of everything, you cannot make fun of anything.
Sure.
And I think that's this movie. There is not a single thing that outside of there's no R word in here. I think beyond that, I think and then obviously not an N word, but like just from who they're offending, there's like the only people that really probably cannot be offended are maybe disabled people.
Maybe.
And beyond that, like it is equal opportunity. You are just you can't watch this anything. Well, really, you can't watch anything by Trey and Matt and not just be prepared to be offended.
Oh yeah,
or be okay with being offended.
They pull no punches.
But this movie to me is the perfect encapsulation of them.
Yes,
like who they are, what they believe, and for some people that's a bad thing. For some people would say,
sure,
watch that, that's who they are. And I would say, watch that, that's who they are. If you can watch that, you can watch any of their other stuff and find joy and laughter in it. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I have more thoughts than that, but it is a perfect sort of Trey Parker, Matt Stone vehicle.
But what
they were given, because we're not talking Orgasmo is pretty offensive.
Oh yeah,
but that was like on an indie level. They were given carte blanche in this movie.
Yes.
You could tell they were allowed to do whatever they wanted.
And to me, it's hard to feel like it's offensive in as much as they clearly are leaning hard into the satire of like American jingoism and like rah, we're the best in the world, especially
which
like post 9/11.
Think about
invading Iraq.
Very timely.
Yeah. So it's really a time capsule for that time of feeling like, you know, you're either with us or against us mentality in the U.S. But that's why I feel like it is their own sensibilities up to 11, but they do
9/11 times 1,000
times 1,000.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And so like they do such a great job of that, but that's why I don't feel like it's, if you truly are understanding what they're going for.
Yeah.
I don't know that you could say you're offended. I don't think it's offensive because they're playing with the stupidity of these like Rocky, you know, not Rocky, but like Rambo, like rah, America's the best type of movies. And then you throw in some stupid songs in it. Like, how could you be mad some marionettes doing it? And that's, I think, the genius of it.
Yep, I agree.
If it was live action or animated, it just wouldn't work in the same way.
It would have been legitimately offensive if this were live.
Yes. Oh, true. Yeah. Like real people saying it would have been like, oh my gosh. But for some reason, puppets saying it.
Yeah. You would have not found any serious actor willing to utter these lines out of their face.
Which is like, I think why like Avenue Q works.
Yeah.
On Broadway is like, and to their credit, Book of Mormon too, like that's a different style, but like that puppetry aspect adds that surrealism to it.
Oh yeah.
So they can make these comments and not have it feel like, how dare they?
Yeah.
I mean, Kim Jong-il is like offensively horribly stereotyped.
But
it
Kim
makes
Jong-il.
sense through the lens of this as well as
Yeah, they're not making fun of all Asians.
Yes, correct.
They're literally shitting on Kim Jong-il.
Yes.
Like that is where they get around it.
Yes.
It's not all, it's just them.
Yes.
And then terrorists, like the fact that they didn't use any real language. It was just the Durka jihad, Muhammad.
Yes.
Like that's totally offensive, but it's coming out of jihadist terrorists. So can you really be offensive? Like, can you be offended? Like, are you really, if you were Arab, like offended by this?
Because
you know what I'm saying? Because it's not like it's not like at the UN, like the people coming in from other countries or speaking like this.
Yes.
Only these terrorists and evil people are targeted like that.
And it's done through the lens of like the entire premise of we have a world police police person, like I guess they die or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, the only one that can come in as an effective replacement is a actor. And so you're like off the start, you're like, okay, they're just fucking with people. Like,
yeah.
But the idea that we're gonna have them undergo this like, augmentation surgery, which is so bad in terms of like the dark skin and like the pubes basically for the beard.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we're gonna have him with no training go in and talk to these terrorists, and it totally works. And this is like,
my God, he's the greatest actor I've ever seen.
Yeah. And that's where it's like, it's so biting towards that America,
exceptionalism and
yes.
Yeah, and the destruction of, and that like that's
when
where
they go in and try to save these places.
Everything.
Yeah, destroy the Eiffel Tower, the Sphinx, like whatever. Yeah, the terrorist laws, like just blow up the Louvre, like, and that's I think, again, why it works in some of these satires.
Yep.
Where it just feels like they were just playing with all the money they had to be like, the fuck it. Whatever.
Yeah.
We're not going to have a chance like this again.
No. And it was, I think also, I mean, on one hand, you want to say they're just saying, screw it. What can we get away with? What can we write?
Sure.
What can we do? But then on another, I say, it's a ballsy ask to ask a studio for money and make a movie with marionettes.
Yes.
We're not talking an independent animated film that would be nominated for an Oscar from France or whatever, like stop motion or whatever. You're just you're making puppets,
yes.
and you get them to legitimately fund millions of dollars to do this. That's a big ask, and I think that's a ballsy ask. And then to again, for what they were going for, they nail it. They pull this thing off. Like
it totally delivers for what they're wanting.
Exactly. There is and the miniatures are outstanding. Everything about it. So I'm like, it is a ballsy ask for them. So I get that at that point they're probably playing with house money because they've got all the money from South Park and they got the movies and they got whatever. But that's a ballsy ask. And then now Trey Parker's he's a billionaire almost now because of the Book of Mormon. But
yes,
this is right. But this is before Book of Mormon comes out or anything like that. So. It's a big ask. I'm actually very impressed that they were able to get this movie made.
Yeah. I still will reference it nowadays. I promise I will never die.
I will.
For some reason,
if you
promise you'll never die,
I'll make love to you right now.
And the marionette's eyes get big. And he's just like, and just says it so bad. In fact, like, I promise I will never die. Which leads to it is. I love that. It's like, so we because Ellen will be like, you have to die before me, or I've like I promise I'm gonna die. Whatever. But again, speaking of they're just gonna go crazy with it. Having a
non-balls to the wall.
Yeah, non-balls. Like having a marionette sex scene.
Aggressive sex scene.
Yes, and even the uncut version's even worse.
It's way worse because isn't there defiling and bodily fluids?
He shits on her face.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
exactly. Yeah, so it's just
I was trying to be the nice.
Oh no, you're very
nice
kind.
way to do it. Tim's
yeah, exactly. A Cleveland steamer on the face.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so absurd and wonderful because you're watching it going I'm watching a movie.
It's unreal.
Puppets are faking sex. And they're just whatever. And even that, again, why the premise is absurd. She's grieving the loss of this, whatever his name was or whatever, who asked her to marry him. And pretty soon thereafter, this dumbass actor comes in. She's like, what's going to happen? So it's just, again, playing with your stereotypes. But that sequence, I remember in the theater just losing my shit laughing.
It is
because
funny.
It's this is so absurd.
that and that's in the first half of the movie, I think too, right? And
yes.
you're kind of it is. I don't even know how to describe that scene. If you
it's just,
if you were to say oh, it's a puppet movie, and but you got to be prepared for one thing.
Yeah.
Not the racism, not the stereotypes,
not the forced oral
anything
sex.
like that.
Yeah.
No, you have to be prepared for actual
full
frontal everything.
It's just so absurd.
Yeah, it is. I don't even know how to pivot from
There's
that.
no pivots from that.
Yeah, I will. So you talk about the I will never die.
Yeah.
I had never heard anyone say when Swatsworth's like, Jesus, Daddy, fucking Christ. Like that, I still hear it today.
Yes.
That tone, the everything.
Yeah. Spotswood. Yes.
Spotswood.
It's just,
it's
and
so
like,
good.
but to that joke, again, stupid premise, but again, his whole thing of like, I can only trust you if you will go down on me. Yeah. And then it's like, and then he just advertises after, like, oh no, he's fully committed. Like,
let me tell you what kind of mad Gary Johnston is. He's got
So
take another
stupid
in his mouth.
Yeah, he's fully committed. It's like, this is, again, there's like, we're gonna offend
And then the team,
anybody, everybody.
and the team hears that and they're like, oh, okay, yeah. He's like,
he's committed.
Gary put in his mouth, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, it's so absurd.
I always think so. Where was I going with that one? Yeah, that's not really where you can go with that. That's what I was gonna say. The titty effings. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I know. I still, yes, we'll reference that. Instead of like, geez.
Well, yeah, and even I always love like the America song too, where he's like, lick my butt and suck on my butt. Like, who writes
yes,
this song?
exactly. I'm filling in like words that work with the syllables I need. Yes, but like that, they use like the two like America.
So
fuck
good.
yeah, and then
they
later,
use it again later,
like the
the
piano
version.
like, oh yeah. Which of the songs is your favorite?
Oh,
because we had this conversation with South Park.
So the one I sing the most to this day is the AIDS song. I will say, like,
true. It's
first of all, it's the easiest to remember.
Sure. Everybody.
Anytime somebody says AIDS to me,
yeah.
Obviously, in natural conversation,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, this morning we were in a
common
meeting and
details.
like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, did you hear that? You hear the AIDS story?
Like,
no,
I
got a joke for you.
I need a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, man walks into a bar with AIDS. And yeah, it is. That song is everyone has AIDS, and my mother AIDS, my father AIDS. The whole thing. So I don't think that's the best song. I think the best song is I guess if I had to pick, I'm So Ronry is my favorite song.
It's so good.
It is.
Again, the whole stereotype of like R's and L's from an Asian stereotype is terrible.
So bad, but the song itself is actually really good.
Yes. Of him just being like
a ballad.
Yes. Of him being so lonely, but can't say it. And it's just, or like when he says seriously, but it's just.
The other one I will say is when he says, fuck you, Hans Bricks. Like, that'll come out of my mouth sometimes too.
Exactly. I just like the freedom costs $1.05. I forgot about that song, but watching it again, it's like, freedom isn't free. It costs $1.05. It just, and I think, the dumb thing of, we mentioned on a podcast before
Pearl
that.
Harbor, yeah.
Pearl Harbor sucked and I Miss You. Like, they're just like, whatever. We think this movie sucks.
And like, Michael Bay missed the mark.
Yes. In the montage.
Yeah, we reference that the most. That's a good song. But Ronry is the best song.
And it's such a great, the difference of this in South Park, like South Park felt like the songs are just incredible. Like they were like, we're gonna be offensive and it's funny, like Brian Boy Townsend's insane. But seeing this again absolutely makes me think, oh yeah, I can see how Book of Mormon came together.
Yeah.
Where like they were clearly thinking of like how, not connecting in any way, but like they could have great songs that drive a story forward, that are interesting and play on these stereotypes like this song in Book of Mormon, like in Africa, like it's just
I Am Africa.
Yes, so horrible. But it works. But yeah, I think the I'm So Ronry is.
I know the fact that we're also saying Ronry and not lonely,
but that's what the song. It
is.
Yes.
And it's like, because in South Park, the worst song in South Park is the ballad. Well, the I Can Change is not a good song, and then the ballad from Satan, where he's up there or whatever it is. Those two songs are just not good.
No.
So it's nice to have sort of the best song be the bad guy in this.
Yeah,
like a little
I'll give
bit.
you that. Yes,
'Cause
yes.
he starts singing. Yeah, I don't know. It's but that's the best song.
Yes.
In the whole thing, because America is a funny song and
Yes.
it's really good, but it's not like
I'm not singing it.
It's I mean, we always sing the first part.
Oh yeah,
but beyond that, the rest of it, I don't sing at all.
No.
What was I gonna say off of that? I can't remember. What do you got? Take it over.
So when I think of like what things hold up, 20 years later, it is definitely one of these movies that is far too specific to that time.
Yeah. Yep.
Like the satire works, but if you didn't grow up in that time or have the context around it, I don't know how you would watch it now with any appreciation.
No.
Because it just feels so dated. Irrespective of like we're gonna do marionettes, like it just weird to think like the whole America first type of bullshit, but it doesn't to me hold up.
No.
Over these 20 years, like I appreciate what they're going for.
Yeah,
fun having experienced it, and then it's one of the few movies we've had in this entire like 100+ episode where I don't own it on digital.
Yeah, neither.
I was like, oh, well, yeah, because I don't know that I ever feel compelled to watch it on the regular or that much again. And it was great. It was great to watch it again.
Yeah,
and be like, yeah, I don't know, like that I need to again. It was fine, but I do feel like it perfectly captured. Well, not perfectly. It was a really great encapsulation of some of the craziness of like post 9/11, invading Iraq. Criticizing America, how could you dare? Like all these things.
If you let yourself get into the weeds of what they were maybe trying to do, aside from just get away with whatever they could with marionettes, there is some real honest, like hold up a mirror to society kind of thing at the time.
And what struck me watching it, so I don't think it holds up, but what struck me watching it again was, with the criticism they have of like actors.
That was my last point.
And like, how vapid and disillusioned they are, thinking like, oh, they can act these things. And it made me think of honestly watching it at the first parts of the like worst parts of the pandemic when they like did the Imagine song that like Gal Gadot or whatever, not Gal Gadot.
Yeah, she did. Gal Gadot did it.
Is it the one like Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why am I thinking? Oh, Greta Gerwig, I'm thinking. Sorry.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Gal Gadot. And it's like, let's do like a song and like imagine, and people are
This
like,
will help the people.
how dumb
We're
are
literally
you?
dying, you idiots.
Yes. Like
Yeah.
we're sacrificing and so worried and in your like Hollywood homes. And so it was definitely like oh yeah, that tracks. Like that still does resonate in some ways.
Yeah.
Aside from the incredibly, Screen Actors Guild being representative, Film Actors Guild. Again, equal opportunity.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing I'm like,
Yeah, the Screen Actors Guild is apparently a cigarette in London.
True. I'm like, that's not funny to me. Like
that. See,
like,
I agree with that. So I actually think the criticism of the actors is warranted and fair.
Mm-hmm.
And like George Clooney in his acceptance speech of the Oscars, like took credit for the civil rights movement. Our actors did. They even referenced that in South Park at one point. Like Hollywood has every
you
right.
deserve
you
all
deserve
the-
what's coming.
Yes.
So obviously they have a really good, and then I would have had to deal with actors and voice actors and things like that who clearly didn't want to work with them on this.
No.
So they have some real disdain for Hollywood actors.
Definitely.
Through whatever their experience was, and although what's kind of funny is George Clooney is
in South Park.
Yeah, he's in South Park.
Yeah.
And he's the dog or whatever.
No, he's the doctor.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, the
right,
baked potato. Yeah.
But he's a dog in the show. They promoted that George Clooney was going to be a voice, and it turns out he just barked like a dog. So like he went along with the joke. Now this, I understand him not being in this movie.
Yeah.
In terms of that, but So there's real honest, like, you think this helps me in any way, shape, or form? Even talking about Sean Penn, like,
yes,
I was there last year in this, in whatever war-torn country.
Yes.
And you're like, that does nothing for these people.
No.
And so I appreciate that, but then I don't like that they called that it was the Film Actors Guild.
Yes, FAG.
Right.
Yes. It's like,
actually, you undermine what you're trying to do. Now,
Yes.
I get that these people aren't getting it, and so maybe it's like they're idiots or whatever. It kind of undermines everything. Like there are a couple jokes that land pretty well with it.
Yes.
For the most part, that particular line of jokes lands flat every time.
Yep. Yeah.
It's just like you didn't need to do that.
No.
And it sort of undermines what you were trying to do with the fact that actors are totally over the top.
Yeah, they can be vapid. They can be, aggrandizing. And that's just like, meh, didn't work.
No.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like, it's lame.
Yeah, I also feel like this movie, I wonder, like, these songs or whatever, like, is this a direct reaction to them losing the Oscar to Phil Collins,
for Tarzan?
Like,
maybe.
Yeah, from Blade, like, they just said, you know what, we're not even going to try and get nominated for an Oscar this time around.
Yeah, I could see this being like, whatever.
Absolutely, yeah, we're just not even try. Because had they written a couple of those songs a little bit differently,
sure,
they easily could have been.
Yeah.
So that was the only other kind of.
Well, and you see their ability with, again, like Book of Mormon won all these awards.
13 Tonys.
Yeah, so it's like clearly they can put something together. I could see this being like, whatever, who cares?
Oh,
what's the point?
Yeah, they absolutely.
And why would we want an honor from these people that we're making fun of so relentlessly? But yeah, so I agree. Like it doesn't hold up over time.
No,
there's some jokes that are super dated. But that being said, still impressed with what they put together.
I agree.
Cool.
I'm going up there. I'm going to try it. I'm going to let the jury decide.
As we close out our spotlight segment, we come to our final takes called The Verdict.
If we are to have faith and justice, we need only to believe in ourselves.
This is where Tim and I give our final verdicts after rewatching the film and decide whether or not the movie held up over the course of 2 decades.
Now you get out of here before I call a bailiff and have you thrown in jail.
This is The Verdict.
I said to hell with it, to hell with it.
All right, well, while not anywhere near the quality or enjoyment of South Park, Bigger, Longer, Uncut, Team America World Police is still has a level of detail and care that is really something to behold. In particular, with the actual sets, the actual miniatures, and with the actual production of this. Which, by the way, in Panama, all the foliage was weed. I forgot to.
Really?
Yeah, it was all just like marijuana leaves,
a bunch of cannabis plants.
Just cannabis plants.
Oh, that's great.
Team America is over the top in mostly the best way, but it also misses a lot of the marks that they try to hit. It is not something I would ever recommend to pretty much anyone anymore, largely because it just offends on purpose. And not to say it's offensive, but it's just not something you can recommend to anybody. It's a different type of humor and a different time. That being said, I still laugh at parts in this movie. I still quote this movie, and I still sing the song. So something was right about it. So I have 3 out of 5. It seems a little low, but I think for the type of movie it is, I think 3 out of 5 is good.
That works. If you enjoy watching biting, juvenile satire portrayed via marionettes through well-executed action, broken up by musical numbers, well, then have we got a movie for you. Team America World Police is dumb, funny, impressive in its execution, yet ultimately just a bit too unfocused in its commentary to stand the test of time these 20 years later. But overall, similar vibe where I can quote some of these things, still use them now, love the songs. The challenge is if you weren't growing up at that time or had that exposure, it probably doesn't resonate in the same way. So if you're not a fan of South Park, you're not going to appreciate it. If you're a fan of South Park, I'd say watch that movie instead. So, but ultimately, I agree. 3 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, it is something where you're like, you can't recommend it.
No,
there are better options out there. But I'm glad we rewatched it.
Yes, absolutely.
it's still funny.
Yes.
I still enjoy it.
Still enjoy it.
Yeah, it's
yes.
still good.
The exciting quiz program 21.
Our final segment of the episode is Quiz Show.
I've stood on the shoulders of life, and I've never gotten down into the dirt to build.
Where in our research for our subject film, we find some interesting trivia nuggets that we hope will stump the other and possibly intrigue you.
This is not McCarthyism. You're not here to expose for the sake of exposure.
This is Quiz Show.
Well, evidently, certain of the contestants were given the answers in advance.
Cheating on a quiz show. It's like plagiarizing a comic strip.
I believe we both just have one.
Just one.
Oh, just one. I went first last time and ended up crossing streams, so we'll see if you
see what happens. So I think some of the attention to detail and visuals is due to director of photography Bill Pope, who was the cinematographer for 3 movies we have covered on the podcast already. For what sci-fi action sequels and our 100th episode was he the DP for?
Well, 100, was that Spider-Man 2?
Indeed.
Okay. Ding. So what sci-fi sequels?
Yes.
Plural? Huh. Were they before this movie? Or
They
after?
were.
Okay.
A year before.
And we didn't cover them.
Oh, we watched them.
The Matrix movies.
Uh-huh.
Oh, all right.
Right? And I had no idea, but like, again, I watched it being like, how is this movie that impressive with the details and like the cinematography? Well, you bring in a guy that did the the original Matrix and the sequels, and then Spider-Man 2.
I cannot get Matt to watch The Matrix with me. I'm really trying to. He won't do it.
It's the first one. Yeah. Although we're in such a gaming society of like Roblox and like living differently like that. But
maybe.
Yeah.
I really am impressed with the movie and its sets and all the setup of it. It is really impressive what they do.
Yes.
All right. So the final product of Team America World Police was not the original idea for the film. Creators Parker and Stone received an advanced copy of a different 2004 film and thought the screenplay was already funny enough, in a bad way, and thought it would be even funnier, but with puppets. They ultimately did not parody that film, but what 2004 disaster film did they consider parodying with marionettes?
Oh, son of a mother. 2004 being funny.
In a bad way.
Sure. I'm trying to think of what movies we might have watched but weren't going to for this year because of how terrible 2004 is. Okay, I can see the poster.
Can you?
Yeah. The Day After Tomorrow.
That is correct.
They got an advanced copy. They're like,
copy of it, and they were like,
we should do that.
This with marionettes. Like, how bad would this be? And they decided not to, and then ended up moving on to parodying.
Oh my god! You know, I haven't seen it in forever, and I definitely feel like
movie.
It doesn't deserve the bad rap it gets.
I love that movie. Like if you like a good end of the world movie, like an Armageddon, Day After Tomorrow, even 2012, that garbage.
Yeah,
like I love those movies. They're so bad.
It's exactly like you know what you're getting
the
into.
Core. Oh my god,
the core. Oh really? You're like technology is going to work that far underground? Just have like signals coming up to or whatever. So dumb. Yes, exactly. I can't get a freaking cell phone one ground under, but yes.
The
Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, the only one I would never tell you to watch is Moonfall or whatever that one was. But
you saw that. You're like,
it was so bad. That was offensively bad. That was like B movie bad, but they tried to make it an A movie. Yeah. Anyway, Day After Tomorrow.
Nice.
There we go. All right, well, that brings us to the end of the Happy Hour episode on Team America World Police. Make sure to go back and listen to our recent episodes on your favorite streaming platforms. And stay tuned for upcoming episodes on The Incredibles and Ray. We want to say thank you for taking the time to listen and for clicking that like or subscribe button on your devices. Find us on the internet via the metaverse of Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. And head to 20years4beers.com for more information on us. This has been 20 Years 4 Beers. My name is Steve.
I'm Tim.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks. Gosh, those immigrants. Yay. America.
I'm pretty sure this body is 90% Crowler at this point.
A can?
A can.
Rah, rah, we're the best in the world.